friends, welcome to my channel. Today, let us learn what is short-run supply, long-run supply and shutdown point. So before understanding short-run supply curve, what do you mean by supply? Let us understand what is the meaning of supply first. Yes, supply refers to the quantity of a commodity that a producer is willing and able to offer for sale for each reasonable price for a period of time, for a particular period of time. That is what supply. So what is supply curve? Supply curve is the graphical representation of quantities supplied at various prices. Now let us see what is short-run supply curve. Yes, short-run supply curve is the summation of the short-run marginal cost curve. Yes, let me ask one question here. The entire short-run marginal cost curve is the supply curve? No. Only the rising portion of the marginal cost curve, that too from the point of average variable cost curve. You can see from the diagram the minimum point of average variable cost curve. Just look at that point. From that point onwards, the rising portion of the short-run marginal cost curve is the short-run supply curve. Yes, dear friends, we can see that our short-run marginal cost curve hits the average variable cost curve at its minimum point. From that point onwards, the rising portion of the marginal cost curve is the supply curve. It is the short-run supply curve. So hope you understood what is the meaning of short-run supply curve and how can you derive the short-run supply curve of a firm under perfect competitive market. Look at the diagram. The diagram, you can see where is the price line and where is the short-run marginal cost curve. You can see average variable cost curve and you can see the short-run average cost curve also. You can see the MC curve. It is mentioned, the same MC curve, which is actually darkened, and you can see it is written SS, which means it is the supply curve. You have learned that a profit maximizing firm in a perfect competitive market will not produce if the price or average revenue is less than the average variable cost. It is because that the point where price or average revenue is equal to average variable cost is the shutdown point. If the firm, after this point, if the firm continue to produce, what it means that firm will suffer acute losses as it will not be able to recover its variable costs along with the fixed cost. So it will stop further production. So you can see from the diagram what is the meaning of shutdown point also, especially short-run shutdown point. A firm continues to produce as long as the price remains greater than or equal to average variable cost. Below the minimum point of average variable cost, there will be no production. So the point where SMC curve cut ABC curve at the minimum is called the short-run shutdown point. What about long run? To understand long run, look at it is long-run marginal cost curve cut long-run average cost curve at its minimum. That point will be the shutdown point in the case of long run. So you understood what is the meaning of shutdown point and where is the short run shutdown point and where is the long run shutdown point. Now, what do you mean by long run supply curve? Yes, it is the rising portion of the long run marginal cost curve. Look at the diagram. You can see from the diagram, the long run marginal cost curve hits the long run average cost curve at its minimum point. Yes, then it is rising. So from the point where it hits long run marginal cost curve, cut the long run average cost curve, then it is rising to the upward. That portion of the long run marginal cost curve is the long run supply curve. Yes. Now let's see how it is. How can we say that the rising portion of the marginal cost curve is the supply curve? For that, you should understand where is the supply curve. Just listen here. Look at the board. This is the way how you should draw the diagram. Yes, it shows the short-run supply curve. You can see the x-axis. It represents quantity, output, and y-axis which represents price. Yes, and this is the price line. You can see the short-run marginal cost curve, average variable cost curve is there, and this is the point. I have marked here this point, this quantity of output at this price level, the maximum profitable output, what is the firm is producing, and you can see from this point onwards, this short-run marginal cost curve is rising. From here also it is rising, but from this point and on we cannot say it is part of supply curve, because point we should look at only at this particular point. Average variable cost curve is here, and we can see short-run marginal cost curve hits or cuts the average variable cost curve at this particular point, which is the minimum point of average variable cost curve, and from there onwards it is rising again and again. So this is the supply curve. This is the short-run supply curve of a firm. Okay, now suppose the price is increasing from P1 to P2, we get the new price line. We can see from this point it is rising. Again it is rising means accordingly how the curve is going, how the supply is increasing, what about the output level we can see. So once again look at the point when the price level, when the market price is P1, this much quantity of output. Yes. So let us take it out separately, this part, this much quantity of output at this price level, 1 point. Let us mark here, and when the price increases from P1 to P2, see the price line, this much, and what is the quantity of output, that is also increases. So only let us leave all this cost curve, let us take only the supply portion. So from here to here, this much quantity of output supplied. Yes. Once again, if the price again and again, if it is increasing, you can see at this particular price level, this much quantity supplied. So we have taken here only price and quantity supplied. This y-axis of this diagram represents price. Here it is quantity. So at this price level, Q1 level of output supplied, at this particular price level, Q2 level of output supplied, and this particular price level, Q3 level of output supplied. So you got all these points, just join, you will get the supply curve. Yes, this is the supply curve. This is the supply curve from here to here. This is the individual supply curve of a firm. Just for your understanding, you can see. So what is supply curve? It is the graphical representation of quantity supplied at various price level. So this is what coming here in this short-run marginal cost curve, the rising portion as the supply curve. So hope it is clear what is the meaning of short-run supply curve and how can we derive short-run supply curve and why. How can we say that short-run supply curve, it is the rising portion of short-run marginal cost curve. This area also it is clear. Hope it is clear and all of you understood what is the meaning of short-run supply curve, long-run supply curve and shutdown point within short period of time. So that's it from my side for this particular video. Thanks for watching. Thank you.